Right now, there are at least 6 active scenarios that could force you to survive without outside help for 72 hours or more. Most people have prepared for 0 of them. This video changes that. A power grid cyber attack, a chemical plant accident, an earthquake, a pandemic supply disruption, a severe weather event, or a geopolitical flashpoint that escalates faster than anyone expected. These are not hypotheticals. They are documented, recurring events, and the gap between being fine and being in serious trouble is almost always the same thing: preparation. Welcome to 0 Hour Life. Today's briefing covers the complete emergency survival kit, what actually belongs in it, what most lists leave out, and the 5 mistakes that make people think they're prepared when they're not. Stay with me until the end. The standard 72-hour kit recommendation comes from FEMA's Civil Emergency Guidelines. The logic is that most localized emergencies, a severe storm, a localized outage, a short-term evacuation, are resolved within 3 days, after which outside assistance arrives. That is the floor, not the ceiling. What FEMA doesn't tell you is that in major infrastructure events, a large-scale cyber attack, a Category 4 hurricane, a regional grid failure, the 72-hour window is often the point at which things get harder, not the point at which help arrives. We build our kit for reality, not the optimistic scenario. The kit we're building today covers 72 hours as the minimum and extends to 2 weeks as the functional target. It costs less than most people think, takes less space than most people assume, and once built requires almost no maintenance. Let's start with the first and most critical category: water. The standard figure is 1 gallon of water per person per day. That number covers drinking and basic sanitation. For a family of 4, a 72-hour supply is 12 gallons. A 2-week supply is 56 gallons. These are minimum figures. Add 20% for heat, illness, or physical exertion. Storage options in order of practicality: commercially sealed water bottles rotate easily and take minimal space. 5-gallon stackable containers are the most efficient solution for most households. They fill, stack, and store cleanly. The 55-gallon barrel is the high-capacity option and requires a hand pump. Filtration is your backup protocol. If stored water runs out or becomes contaminated, you need a filtration method. In priority order: portable squeeze filters rated to 0 microns, gravity filter bags for household capacity, and water purification tablets for the kit itself. Keep all 3 categories if possible. Category 2, food. The mistake most people make with emergency food storage is prioritizing comfort over density. You need caloric efficiency. The goal is maximum calories per pound of weight and per cubic inch of storage space. Here are the 5 highest performing food categories for emergency storage: white rice, peanut butter, canned protein tuna, beans, chicken, freeze-dried meals for extended supplies, and hardtack or dense crackers for the kit itself. Each of these stores for years, requires minimal preparation, and delivers high caloric return per unit of storage space. The rotation system is as important as the supply itself. First in, first out. Every item you store should be something you actually eat in regular life. Your emergency supply is not a separate category of food. It is a deeper version of your pantry. This eliminates waste and keeps your supply perpetually fresh without effort. Category 3, first aid. Most commercial first aid kits are designed for minor inconveniences, paper cuts, and headaches. An emergency kit requires a different tier of supplies. Here is what actually matters. Priority items. A tourniquet. This is the single most important addition most kits are missing. Israeli bandages for wound packing, nitrile gloves in multiple sizes, antiseptic wipes, medical tape, a thermal emergency blanket, and a printed wilderness first aid reference card sealed in a waterproof sleeve. A note on medications: if you or anyone in your household takes a prescription medication, a 30-day surplus is a preparedness priority. The supply chain disruptions of 2020 and 21 demonstrated clearly that pharmacy access is not guaranteed during a major event. Have the conversation with your physician. Category 4, shelter and thermal protection. Most people live in their primary residence during an emergency, which means your shelter category is primarily about maintaining safety and warmth inside your existing structure. But the kit needs items that work if you cannot stay home. Essential shelter items: emergency Mylar blankets, 2 per person, minimum. A heavy-duty tarp with cordage for external shelter. A waterproof poncho per person. Work gloves and duct tape, which has an almost unlimited list of emergency applications. These items together weigh under 4 pounds and compress to the size of a shoebox. Category 5, communication. This is consistently the most underrepresented category in standard preparedness checklists. Most people's communication plan is, check my phone. During a major infrastructure event, your phone is likely the least reliable communication tool available. The communication items your kit needs: a hand-crank NOAA weather radio. This is non-negotiable. A high-capacity battery bank at minimum 20,000 mAh with a solar charging panel, and a written emergency contact list in a waterproof sleeve, not stored on your phone, written on paper. Category 6, documents and financial reserves. During a declared emergency, government systems can move slowly or stop entirely. Your ability to prove identity, access insurance, and make purchases may depend entirely on what you have with you in physical form. Cash reserves. This is the one most people skip. During an extended grid outage, electronic payment systems fail. Card terminals go dark. ATMs empty or stop functioning. The recommendation is a minimum of $300 in mixed small denominations, ones, fives, and 20s, stored with your documents. This is not an investment, it is a utility. Category 7, power. Your devices will run out of charge within 24 to 48 hours of a grid outage, unless you have a backup power protocol. The hierarchy here is layered: battery banks for devices, a solar generator for sustained household power, and hand crank items for absolute redundancy. That covers the 7 core categories. Let's now look at what the complete kit actually looks like organized together, because this is where most people overestimate the storage requirement. A fully stocked 72-hour kit for one person fits inside a standard 30-liter backpack. A 2-week household kit for 4 people requires approximately 1 standard storage closet shelf. Now we get to the part of the briefing that matters as much as everything that came before it: the 5 most common preparedness mistakes. These are the gaps that make people believe they are prepared when they are not. Each one is fixable in under an hour. Mistake 1, expired supplies. The number one problem with most emergency kits is that they were assembled once and never touched again. Canned goods expire. Water goes stale. Batteries self-discharge. A kit that has not been checked in 18 months may be largely non-functional when you need it. The protocol: schedule a kit review every 6 months. Label it in your calendar the same way you label a medical appointment. Check every expiration date. Test every battery. Confirm every water seal. It takes 30 minutes, and it is the difference between a functional kit and a false sense of security. Mistake 2, no water plan beyond stored bottles. Most households that have any water storage have a case or two of commercial water bottles, approximately 12 bottles. That is approximately 9 liters. For a family of 4, that is less than 12 hours of basic coverage. It is a gesture. Mistake 3, digital-only document storage. Your phone is charged until it isn't. Cloud access works until the internet doesn't. The only documents that matter during a major emergency are the ones you can physically hand to someone. Scan everything, print it, seal it, keep it with the kit. Mistake 4, no communication plan. A communication plan means, where does your household meet if you cannot reach each other by phone? Who is the out-of-state contact both parties call? What radio channel or frequency is your household monitoring? Without answers to these 3 questions, you are not prepared, you are waiting to improvise. Mistake 5, single source dependency. This is the architectural error that underlies all the others. If your water plan depends entirely on tap water, your power plan depends entirely on the grid, and your communication plan depends entirely on your cellular carrier, you have built a preparedness structure that fails completely when any single node goes down. The protocol is redundancy at every layer. 2 water sources, 2 power sources, 2 communication methods, 2 food supply systems. This is not paranoia. This is the same design principle used in aircraft engineering, hospital power systems, and government infrastructure. Redundancy is how critical systems stay functional. Let's now move from the core kit into the extended preparedness tier, the items that take you from 72-hour coverage to 2-week coverage. These are not luxury additions. In a major regional event, 2 weeks is the more realistic operational window before supply chains and infrastructure begin to stabilize. The extended food supply is the single highest impact investment in this tier. Moving from 72-hour food coverage to 2-week coverage for a household of 4 requires approximately $350 to $400 worth of dry goods and canned supplies purchased over 4 to 6 weeks. This is not a single large expense, it is a gradual build. Extended water storage. Moving to 56 gallons or beyond for a household of 4 requires the 5-gallon stackable container system. A stack of 10 containers at 5 gallons each reaches your 2-week minimum. These containers cost approximately $6 to $8 each, store flat when empty, and can be filled from your tap. The total investment is under $100. Energy independence for extended events. A portable solar generator in the 500 to 1,000 watt-hour range with a compatible solar input panel is the most impactful single purchase you can make for extended preparedness. These units can power a CPAP machine, charge all household devices, run a small refrigerator for short periods, and provide lighting indefinitely on solar input. The cost range is $400 to $800. Let's now address the budget question directly because the single most common reason people don't build a preparedness kit is that they believe it requires a large upfront investment. It does not. Here is the protocol for building a complete 2-week household kit on a constrained budget. Week 1, $25 to $30. Spend it entirely on water storage. Buy 5 5-gallon containers and fill them. This single action covers approximately 40% of your 72-hour water requirement for a family of 4 and costs less than $30. It is the highest value per dollar preparedness purchase available. Week 2, $25 to $30. Spend it on food rotation stock. Buy 2 large bags of white rice, 4 jars of peanut butter, and 12 cans of protein tuna, beans, or chicken. Label them with the purchase date. Add them to your rotation system. This covers approximately 4 days of caloric supply for 2 adults. Week 3, the communication and document kit. This week, buy the hand-crank NOAA weather radio, print your emergency contact list, and assemble your document pouch. Total cost, $40 to $60. The radio is the highest priority purchase in this category. The document pouch is a folder and a waterproof sleeve cost under $5. Week 4, first aid and shelter. Buy the tourniquet, the Israeli bandage, nitrile gloves, and a pair of emergency mylar blankets. Total cost, $35 to $50. At the end of week 4, you have covered 6 of the 7 core categories for under $150, and you have done it without a single overwhelming purchase. The power category, the 7th, is the larger investment and can be approached separately on a longer timeline. A battery bank and solar charger in the $50 to $80 range covers the immediate need. The solar generator is a 6-month target purchase. This is not an obstacle. It is a phased build. Let's now talk about the bug-out bag versus the shelter-in-place kit, because these are 2 distinct configurations, and most people conflate them. The shelter-in-place kit is your household supply system, the shelves, the containers, the rotation stock. The bug-out bag is a single deployable kit you can carry out the door in under 90 seconds. Your bug-out bag should be pre-packed, stored in an accessible location, and require 0 decisions at the moment of use. The 90-second rule: if you cannot be out of the door with this bag in 90 seconds, it is not operationally ready. Contents: water, compact food, first aid, documents, communication, cash, a change of clothing, and medications. Final section: the current threat landscape, why this briefing is more relevant in March 2026 than it would have been in 2020. The convergence of grid infrastructure vulnerabilities, documented cyber attack campaigns targeting civilian infrastructure, geopolitical instability in multiple regions simultaneously, and ongoing supply chain fragility creates a risk profile that is objectively higher than the baseline of the previous decade. CISA's 2005 annual threat assessment identified domestic grid infrastructure as the highest priority vulnerability in civilian critical infrastructure. The assessment noted documented reconnaissance by nation-state actors on multiple regional grid nodes. This is not a prediction. It is a documented finding from the federal agency responsible for infrastructure security. The energy crisis context, global oil supply disruptions in 2024 and 2025 demonstrated that fuel price volatility can cascade into food price instability within weeks. If you are relying on a continuous just-in-time supply chain for your household food supply, you are operating without a buffer in a system that has now demonstrably failed at the regional level multiple times in 5 years. The preparedness decision is not a decision about fear. It is a decision about logic. You insure your home, your car, and your health, none of which you expect to need on any given day. A preparedness kit is the same category of decision. It is household insurance for your supply chain, your water access, and your energy. Before we close, subscribe to 0 Hour Life if this briefing was useful. New briefings publish every week. Each one connects a specific current threat to a specific preparedness protocol, the same format as today. The next briefing covers nuclear threat preparedness, what the government's own data says about civilian survivability, and the step-by-step shelter-in-place protocol that FEMA publishes but almost nobody reads. 3 action steps before this briefing closes. 1. Determine your current coverage status for each of the 7 categories. 2. Pick the single lowest cost, highest impact gap and close it this week. 3. Set a recurring calendar reminder 6 months from today for your first kit review. That is the protocol. This is 0 Hour Life. Prepare, survive, adapt. Next briefing publishes in 5 days.